Hey everyone, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on which place of the world you're joining from. Welcome to this 141st edition of Clarity Chat. Today we have with us Raj Janapareddy. He's co-founder and CSO of Healpha, which seeks to improve schools' ability to manage their students' health and well-being. He's a veteran of L&T, Enexco, Deloitte, IntelliGroup, PwC, Genpact, and a few more. Hey Raj, welcome to the session.
Hi, Jagdish. Pleasure to be on this chat.
Yeah. So, before we start with Raj, here is wishing everyone a happy, prosperous, and bright Diwali. Consider this session our Diwali special and one of the Hatke sessions. What I mean is, we don't have a classic CIO on the session, but someone with a very, very, very versatile leader whose journey spans from astrophysics, cement, process engineering, consulting, and now to startups and sustainability. So Raj holds an MSc in astrophysics from Osmania University. He's a he has a master's in cement technology from CRI Faridabad, and he has advanced management credentials from XLRI Jamshedpur and Harvard University. Um, well, don't ask me why he went from astrophysics to cement technology. He will cover it. With over 38 years, Raj's journey is a rare blend of curiosity, collaboration, and creativity. From studying astrophysics to pioneering industrial automation at L&T, enabling global sustainability innovations at Enexco, driving business transformation at GE and Deloitte, and finally co-founding Healpha, a health tech venture that exemplifies doing more with less. His leadership philosophy blends multidisciplinary integration, empathy, and purpose. Um, and one of them is if content is king, context is god, and we'll cover that. And I think something which resonates very well with the purpose of Clarity Chat, which is we succeed not because of technology but because of people and the way we connect them. So today we'll uncover Raj's journey through six powerful lenses: learning, innovation, culture, sustainability, and the art of balancing technology with a purpose. We'll end the chat with a rapid fire round to bring out the personal side of Raj and then a reverse question to me. You know the template. And hey, Raj, before we start talking of serious things, let's get some energy going up. So please share some humorous professional or personal incident which you still remember with a smile.
That's a good one to start with. I remember very early. At a very early age, I was working in France. It was a big one of the large cement companies called Lafarge. I used to live in the UK and then implement this autonomous fuzzy logic expert systems in Lafarge plant. So we implement that. It was a weekend. We just gone live, what we used to call it commissioning in those days. And then we came back to UK because it was a long weekend. And I get a call immediately the moment I land in Portsmouth and just heading towards the hotel. We get a call from the office as we stop that we should be calling them, and somebody picked us up that the plant is down. And said, what happened? He says that the coffee mug holder is not working. And we don't understand what is this coffee mug holder not working. We had to work with operators and technicians who run the plants, chemical engineers and technicians, all the people. So long and short, we hit back. We went to a center in UK, connected it to modem, and tried to see and say that hey, just put that CD and then put it on. It'll boot up. So when we were trying to give some instructions, and me and my colleague had to again take a car, put our car into the ship at Portsmouth and land in La Havre on the other side and go there, only to learn that the CD disc which comes out, the person there, the French, thought that it was a coffee mug holder, and he kept his coffee cup in that, a disposable thing. So
And it
an
worked.
expert system doesn't work. An expert system doesn't work because they put a coffee cup there. That was frustrating. We lost our whole weekend, long weekend. What silly was, silly of me coming a small town boy from, very modest family. I go to UK, in my early 20s, mid 20s perhaps, and I land there and somebody picks me up. I was living in a hotel in Bromley, and I thought I'd take a walk. I go to the traffic signal. The signal turns green for everyone, but doesn't turn green for me. Absolutely. Yeah. And everyone comes there, stops there, and it turns green. I go there, it doesn't green. And again on Sunday, I go there and I said, let me sit back and on the footpath and observe. Then I observed there was a small button on that particular pole where the walking green person you could see. It was so casual I didn't observe that. Mister, you wanted to make it hilarious. I, I went to Central and my ticket, when I put it in the machine, doesn't come out and it doesn't open the gate. And I'm struggling there, asking them, "Hey guys, can somebody help me? Take somebody's help, sir." And I said, "Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. Who is that somebody? It's anybody." While they are saying the same thing, they say that, "Okay, ask somebody to help you. Stand in front of them, and they will put the ticket, and both of you can, tailgate and go." It took me half an hour just to understand. They say everyone says that take somebody's help, and I asked him, "Who is that somebody?" He said, "Anybody." And I was struggling with somebody and anybody. So that's what happens when a small town boy from India lands up.
No, no, awesome, awesome, sir.
Yeah.
I think the first one was funny. It reminded me of one one of my own incidents. So, long back, I think this was 2002 when we used to go to small towns and train dealerships on how to use the system. So this became a very famous one that so the trainer basically tells them, okay, so now you take your mouse to the top of the screen, okay, and this is what the users end up doing. Okay, so now what? Oh no, you have to move it. So actually we have to train people on like using the mouse itself.
Oh,
Anyway, so sir, let's
ask me when we were implementing we didn't have a mouse. The first instrument like a pointer, there's something called tracker ball. We got something from ASI, now it become ABB. They gave a tracker ball and we asked them, just go take the cursor there and then click it and say, what is it called? It's mouse. Then say the mouse runs away. That was the joke there. The mouse runs away. We tried. And they used two hands to operate the mouse. It was very fun. Same as what you said.
awesome, awesome, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, guys, I think the beginning is a good one. So we'll know more about Raj as we go through. So before we go forward, like I just want to acknowledge our audience. We have CXOs, founders, IT managers, and seasoned technology industry leaders in our audience. All of us know that technology is necessary but not sufficient to drive business performance. And the guests on Clarity Chat, like Raj, have built the bridge between the necessary and sufficient with their art of managing and leadership. Clarity Chat builds the bridge between their learnings and all of you who are trying to make a powerful impact with technology. So thank you all for joining us for the last 140 episodes and encouraging us with your interactions and questions. May I request you guys to all of you to share your name and where you're joining from in the comment box of LinkedIn and YouTube. And thank you for attending. So we do have some people who already know the ritual. So let me bring them up. For the rest of you, please, let us know that you guys are around and watching us because we are not on LinkedIn. We are on a different studio. But if you write something on LinkedIn or YouTube comments, it flows to us in a chat box. So Amarinder ji, thank you. Wishing everyone a Shubh Deepavali. Best wishes from Namma Bengaluru. Thank you, Amarinder ji. Happy Diwali to you too. And we have somebody from Texas. I think Satya is in India right now. I hope Satya it makes it easier for you to attend this. Otherwise, this dude joins us early morning. I think 6:30 in the morning from Texas. Hey Satya, thanks for joining. Okay, so let's get on with it. Okay. Raj, let's begin with a walkthrough and key reflections from your career, and then we come to those important themes that we mentioned in our LinkedIn post. So, so I've kind of passed your career into like five different phases, and let's quickly walk through those. So the phase one part is the studies where Raj completed MSc in astronomy from Osmania University in 1985, and he gained hands-on experience in setting up, running, and managing telescopes. He was the rare undergraduate student selected for the International Halley's Comet Watch program. This was featured on Doordarshan, and he had the opportunity to work with India's largest optical telescope at Osmania University. Afterwards, he moved to Delhi to prepare for the civil services, but on the advice of an IIT professor, Dr. Pichumani, he decided to pivot and pursue MTech in cement technology from Cement Research Institute in late 80s. So, Raj, taking a pause before I go to your phase two, what's your most memorable incident or learning from this, from your student experience, and going from astrophysics to cement research?
Wow, it's when I think it's been an adventurous journey. And Jagdish, you have dissected me into five pieces. That's what I thought you would love. Okay, nevertheless, we will start there. So I wanted to do and learn space sciences or something. That was something I wanted to do. And my parents were very disappointed that, after getting a seat in engineering, I don't join engineering. I joined BSc only because there was no undergraduate course in astrophysics and astronomy. So I joined, do my bachelor's in science with maths, physics, and chemistry. And that was very handy, and got into CASA, Center for Advanced Studies in Astronomy and Astrophysics from Usmania. There are a few highlights of astrophysics, and of course some lowlights too.
Answer.
The highlight the highlight was, joining this big program called International Halley Watch Program, which was a global program. And we were doing optical astronomy from Hyderabad in CASA, which was one of the largest telescope. While the program, I thought it was astronomy, but it was astronomy, physics, chemistry, and electronics, because the telescope had to run at the same speed with the geosynchronous thing. Otherwise, we would get lines and blur. And we had to learn electronics and maintain that, the synchro mesh motors, which we were running. And even programming. I didn't know a bit of a programming, and just taking the data, working all night and punching it back into the data center and getting the data. So that was a surprise that, it was just like, 25 30% astronomy as a backbone, or 40% astronomy, but there were a lot of other things. And the simplest things like the technician or the mechanic, if it didn't work, the whole program would have gone for a toss. And Jagdish did mention some of, yeah.
So it's like your core subject alone doesn't help you. You also need to know a lot many other things to make it work, to make your core competency work, right?
Yeah, core was only the North Star. It's a guiding vision that we want to go to Delhi or Timbuktu. But just knowing the core subject wasn't enough. We won't have reached our goal if we don't. And the surprising thing, I was in the beginning, it was I was very nervous as how I am going to learn spectrometry and spectrography and programming in such a short period of time. But Professor Abhyankar and Professor Sanyal and my teachers, they are some of the best in the astrophysics field. But they have not really taught me astronomy. They taught me something larger than life. They taught me how to learn. And Professor Abhyankar used to fondly say, Raj, when hungry person comes to you, don't give him a fish. He was a Bengali, so the fish example comes very naturally to him. Don't give a fish. Teach them to fish. And I think that's what pushed us to learn things and do it. We learned all the things on the field and got it done there.
Okay. So, sir, let's move on. Now, there was so Raj did some work on sustainable fuels in the CRI. We'll come to that later. But there's a question, which Raj will come back to. I'm asking on behalf of Raj to all of our audience, which we'll come back to later when we talk about sustainability. Okay. So the question is, so guys, please tell us whether a kulhad is more sustainable or a paper cup is more sustainable? And why do you think so? Okay. So maybe you can use Chat GPT as well while listening to us. But when we come to the question on sustainability, that time we'll review those answers and then we'll have Raj's perspective on that. So coming back, sir,
Thank you,
to the
Jagdish. That would be a good one.
yes, definitely, sir. So in the phase two, life as a cement engineer. Raj finished his PG postgraduate diploma from Cement Research Institute and started his journey with L&T as a process engineer for 3 years. And during this time, he contributed to building Asia's largest cement plant and was among the early implementers of automation and fuzzy logic system in the industry. I think the dusty and air of cement plants didn't quite suit him, prompting a transition to cement technology consulting. So all that he had learned in setting up the cement plant. So he joined Intersam Enexco GmbH. Over the next 7 years, he played a pivotal role in introducing 15 plus global technologies to India. So Raj, this was like me telling about it, and you're like, oh my God, he just covered 7 years in 5 sentences. So give your perspective on it.
So, Jagdish, the previous question I missed out. You asked that why did I move from astrophysics and how it happened to cement technology. So there is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
very,
please,
very interesting,
quickly, sir, quickly.
So after I did my master's, I wanted to do my PhD, my doctoral in interstellar space research. But for some reasons, I couldn't do that. So I started writing. So what Professor Sanyal taught how to learn, he taught me how to learn. And I cracked the State Service Commission, I cracked the PO exams, but I couldn't picture myself doing those jobs. So I said, that gave me the confidence. Why don't I take a crack at stab at civil services? So I moved to Delhi. That's when I met Professor Pichumani, and thanks to the gentleman, he's a phenomenal person in the chemical technology world, chemistry and chemical engineering. So he suggests me go to Cement Research Institute. The moment I went there to write my test for the admission, I fell in love with that, and that was the pivot. I said, okay. I was nervous, just how to learn cement technology now, but thanks to my gurus who sort of told me how to learn and ended up well. So coming to this question of L&T, what exactly you want to know in L&T? You
Yeah,
how
yeah.
did
So
I
I mean,
get into L&T, or how did I
what,
move out of
how,
L&T?
yeah, I mean, quickly, like what was L&T like,
Oh,
and what did you learn there? Maybe one takeaway,
phenomenal.
like a big learning.
I think L&T was a great. It's my alma mater. I'm so proud, mighty proud that I joined L&T. And so silly that, my friend said that, why are you joining L&T? From the campus, that was the least offer I had out of all the other offers. But L&T was setting up the largest cement plant in Asia. It was 5,000 plus tons of cement per day. There you can imagine how many trucks. So I just wanted to be middle of the action, and that was the industry like internet or the mobile movement in the cement industry, where a plant is run by some thousands of people. This plant would be run by about incremental 250 people, completely automated, central control room with the robotic lab automation and fuzzy logic. We call smart plants. We did smart plant back then in 90, 89, those period 89 kind of thing. So that was the high point. I was absolutely, there was a rush of adrenaline. I had my highs. Absolutely phenomenal job we did. And that was the turning point of me. After implementing something which has not been done so far and not even done in the West, having automated labs and fuzzy logic and autonomous plants and everything, that said we can do anything. And I was a little allergic to dust and everything, so I loved the cement. So I moved into consulting, into cement consulting engineer, and started traveling all over the world and worked in about 40 countries, giving technology. So that was the change. And this time I got a great portfolio, what they call it NPI today, new product initiatives or new something. My job was to identify new technologies from adjacent or any other as a substitution of technology from other industries or something and apply. So I was lucky. I got about more than 15 technologies which were first time in the world, first time in the cement plant. Not only in India, I applied them globally. So that was the high. Used to travel about 250 to 300 days in a year, hopping from country to country. That was my high.
Awesome, awesome. So, very interesting. So one part was like, a completely hands-on setting up the plant and learning the ropes of cement plant setup and operation itself, and then using kind of like that foundation to do NPI, which is like you just go around the world, uh, identify the technologies from that industry itself or any other industry, and then apply them in the cement industry. So that's a very interesting one, sir. I think again. I mean one of the things that I realized as I was talking to you during our couple of prep chats was this whole thing continues right from the beginning, which is like learn how to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
I
this is
think
like
that's lived with me. That's lived with
yeah,
me all throughout.
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Now, here you are like not only learning from typically people follow their own industries innovations, but here you were like also following other industries and then seeing like how can we apply it to cement. So coming to the phase three, then I think it was a move from automation to consulting. Um, uh, a very logical move because when I asked Raj like why did you move from cement technology to SAP, and it was like in all these technologies you are integrating with SAP, so so why not try that? So he became an SAP consultant, worked with various leading organizations, including IntelliGroup, PwC, and Deloitte over the next 7 years. Eventually, he went on to establish the SAP practice at Genpact, growing it from a two-member team to a 300-member practice. And it was during this phase that he coined the memorable phrase. Dr. Amit Sethi, I see you are there in the audience. And well, let me give you a side note. So, how Raj is on Clarity Chat is courtesy Dr. Amit Sethi. Uh, he mentioned he was working with Raj, and he mentioned this famous dialogue of Raj, which I've used by the way myself a couple of times since our Clarity Chat. It's not the head count; it's the heads that count. And then I said, I want to get Raj on the Clarity Chat. So, sir, yeah, one major takeaway from your SAP consulting and practice head roles, and what was the major difference between, let's say, your automation consulting and SAP consulting?
So, what it was like. I would, if my bosses, I had a chance. I was lucky that I got the opportunity to work with some of the finest people in the industry, whether academic, cement, or technology, anything like that. My peers, my juniors, and my seniors everywhere were wonderful people, and they were fearless, and when they gave a chance, threw some challenge at me. I told them, anyway, I have not done it. That doesn't mean we can't do it. So let's go ahead and do it. I tried. So that was one part. Now, coming from industrial automation to business automation, it wasn't difficult at all. I think it was much more simpler. Industrial applications, working with nuclear power plants and glass and steel and cement and paper and power, they are mission critical. If some accident happens or something like that, we can lose, millions of dollars of asset and lives. Here, a transaction doesn't go, so that fear of failure wasn't there. I said, okay, this is not mission critical as for me. Now, working with nuclear material was mission critical for me. So this was far more tolerant and it would be pardonable. Okay, it would take about 5-10 minutes or half an hour. We would get back. The transaction would show up. So it didn't bother me. But SAP, much before coming to SAP, I had my brush and encounters with SAP. Yeah, because I used to work in process control, process automation, industrial manufacturing. So SAP had some modules. Most of my colleagues would know that SAP PP, production planning, and SAP PPPI, which is process industry, and then now they call it PLM, maintenance management and quality management. So I was working on the other side. If SAP had to work in real time online, there had to be data back and forth coming from this quality systems and quality data and production data and the recipes and all these things. So I worked from the R2 days. I knew what was SAP. SAP was not a new term. So I was integrating all these things externally and knew the process. So the process is the king. We say that the dog will wag the tail will not wag the dog. So the process is the king here. Once the process, this technology, whether SAP, BAN or Micro, doesn't matter. It's just a tool. It's an enabler. Whether we talk in English or Hindi doesn't matter. It is the bhavana, not the bhasha, which is the king. That was a
Absolutely.
natural transition for me. And SAP was one of the leading things. And since I had experience and worked with many SAP implementations on the other side as an integrator with process control systems and quality management systems and plant management systems, those are the areas I went on. Other side, it was like a purchaser and a buyer relationship. It's just that question and answers. The tables are turning.
Awesome, awesome. No, I think you said it so rightly. Technology will follow the process, right? Not the other way around. So yeah, process is where you went, and then and then worked with SAP. So um, um, then I think the next phase was data, a small one, but moving to so Raj took on the role of international business development at Utopia, where he spent 3 years leading global operations. Utopia is a leading software and services company specializing in enterprise data lifecycle management, providing cutting-edge solutions for end-to-end data quality, migration, and data governance. So, tell us a little bit about it. So, what was the one biggest learning, or you can say, aha moment from this?
This was, I was in the middle of a transition where I used to, after my GE stint, I joined Satyam and used to work for Ramalinga Raju, and the episode which happened. After that, I from the previous years didn't want to abandon the ship, what they show in Titanic, to jump off the ship when the ship is sinking. I stayed there. But then when the Mahindras took over, at that time, I was asked to go to, we were paid high, so we were to move to either UK, US, or somewhere, because that's where. And I didn't, the green card or something, definitely. I left all that and came here, so it was not enticing to me. So there was just a call from senior leadership at Utopia, and they said that there is something interesting we are doing. We have been following you. You have been working. What's your experience with data? We said that yeah, data is critical, but we have got to handle it carefully. It's garbage in, garbage out. And what's your challenge? I said that the challenge in ERP or a business transformation is one is change management. That's I look at it for a big one. Second one is what is the data which comes in, and most of the time data it's not the implementation of the processes, workflow, and business process modeling. It's what's the feed you give it, what the inputs you give it. If you have duplicates, if you have inaccurate master data, your whole thing is gone for a toss. I call it simply garbage in, garbage out. And migrations used to be a big challenge. Getting right data, right master data, and all these things was a big challenge. They thought that this was wonderful, and it said that we would like to monetize. It was not a very big company. Their turnover was what? And I was used to look at what they call it as a ROW, rest of the world. So other than Americas, I used to look after the rest of the world. So which was another challenge. I was thrown into the deep end, and the rest of the world was hardly doing any, percentage of revenue wise. So I used to, every week work 1 week in Middle East, 1 week in Singapore, 1 week in Bangalore, and then just go juggling between that. And we were very successful. The data migration, data quality, and data audits became so big. Actually, we set up a what we call as a data lab, and we asked the biggest concern, Fortune 100, give me your master data, and we will tell you what's your data quality. They used to come up with some master data, and we used to say, hey, this is a score of your quality. We were the first one to put some standards around that. And actually, master data governance, the MDM and MDG modules, Utopia was the one who did most of the work, and there are most identified certified solutions of SAP on all these things, where we used to give the solutions master data government. So that was very interesting. I had to learn Dharma and DM. I heard because I was a PMP, PMI certified, I knew PMBOK, but I was shocked. There was something called DMBOK, Data Management Book of Knowledge. So we had to learn, and it was a great place to be in. And what we see the RAG today, with in the context of AI and data is fantastic, but how to handle the data and the quality of data, that's what. And 2010, I'm glad that in 2010 I could, sense that data is the fuel and data is the new currency. and true to it,
That
we
was
were able to.
that was ahead of the time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably I was able to sense it and then pick the things. It was a little ahead of the game.
Awesome, awesome. So sir, like the last phase, which is currently going on, was entrepreneurship. Uh, Raj successfully set up and ran Bloom Hospitals, which expanded into a chain of 7 hospitals, if I'm right, sir. And then you sold it. And then in 2017, he co-founded Healpha. And since then, he has taken on multiple roles as co-founder, startup mentor, and entrepreneur. And most recently, focusing on sustainability initiatives in the cement industry. So, sir, we are just past the halfway mark, 5:30, and we're still you
We
you
got to
you
speed up.
you
So, by
remember
the
my
small
fear
correction, it
about,
was
you have
2000.
been,
The journey of
yeah,
hospital started in 2007. We had 4 hospitals. We did fantastic. I think we could compassion and PNL and good service could be broken down, and we did that. And we ran our hospitals, some of the best run hospitals where the lowest stay. My metrics, what we driven was how could we reduce the length of stay. When all the hospitals saying how do we keep the patient for long, my metric was clear. How could we reduce the length of stay? How much would be the cost of medicines per day, the least? How much less antibiotics we use? And how do we not do unnecessary diagnostics? So
messages, yeah,
that we were one of the first hospitals. Actually, now it's a part of the quality manual and the new standards, where we give a quotation upfront. We used to give an estimate in our hospital before they come. This is what it is. We know what it is. We know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. So these are the things. We will be able to give estimates that this is what it may cost, plus or minus 10%, this much stay, and these could be associated. That's something which we did. That helped me learn everything. And what we saw is it's not level 3 kind of a care which we need. It's not the super special. A country like India needs primary health care. If we do good primary health care, then you are filtering so much of it. You don't the
yeah.
the transplant or kidney transplant, everything, it's 1%, 2%. It's not. But if we curate and take them, do it timely, and do a simple body checkups and everything like that, it's stitching time saves time. That's what we looked at. So at Healpha,
Awesome.
we wanted to do something. We work with Government of India. We want work with the digital health. Where we were a part of that think tank of India. We're trying to put data standards and all these things. So what we saw is there are 30 crores of children in India. Out of that, 56%, 52 to 56% are girls, and the other things are 48 something are boys. If we every year do a primary health checkup, a comprehensive one, and our theory worked actually, we don't have to spend. If we spend in this primary care, we don't have to spend leading to tertiary care, secondary care, and everything. So we were doing a comprehensive health checkup, eye, ENT, and everything. What would otherwise in hospitals, the best of hospital, whether it's Apollo or anything, they would not be able to do less than 2,000 rupees. We got it down to about 300 rupees,
Wow.
185 to 200 parameters. But it's not what we did. It's not the harkat. What is the output and what's the outcome? Then the outcome was we were able to save 10,000 children from getting blind. The parents, when we go to the villages, they fall on our feet and then they get us onto their houses and ask them to eat. We saved some few 500, 5,000 something children from becoming deaf. Nobody checks deafness. Nobody knows. Until unless there is a pain, no parents have taken them to that. So these were the real things which we were able to make a moment. And
Awesome.
as an outcome, when schools were closed in COVID, uh, we were the first ones who got the COVID app, and it was the Atmanirbhar Bharat PM's innovation we won. And we were treating COVID when the world was charging lakhs and something. We were treating COVID at you know cents and dimes kind of a thing, and we have treated thousands and thousands of people when hospitals were not able. The complete in Hyderabad, the government, police, municipality, and everything. And Mumbai, thanks to my friends Amit and all who in Delhi, they used it. we were able to service even some remote areas in Madhya Pradesh and Mumbai.
Awesome. Awesome. So, sir,
But here,
let us.
Jagdish, the point is, it was not the core medical intervention. It was the process innovation. It was the delivery innovation. It was the user experience innovation. We looked
Awesome.
at the complete thing as a problem, not just the medical gadgets and everything. That's what we were able to do. What we were able to do.
Awesome. So, sir, let me go back to our audience. There are some questions, and there are some more people who have made their presence felt. So we have Dr. Amit Rakesh Sethi here. Hi, Dr. Amit. Thanks for joining. We have Ronit. Wishing everyone happy Diwali. Thanks, Ronit, for joining. And we have Shweta. And then we have a question from Amarinder. Sir, this is for you. How does an individual professional leader discover and overcome his or blind spots?
Oh, I'm still discovering every time, every time hitting. There hasn't been one formula, Amarinder, but we have got to be consciously looking for blind spots. I think the quality department, many people think that it improves the quality, but the quality department is the one who is telling you may fall off the cliff. They're watching. The risk management team of our organizations are the one who are our rear view mirrors and side view mirrors, and as we drive in the car, they are the ones who is keeping us in the guard. And everyone, like every one of us, have to be mindful and look at the blind spots. I don't have a direct answer. Probably I'm going around, but somehow
Okay.
I think intuition was helped me. Yet
Yeah.
somebody is asking what is better, kulhad or a cup. Ask people to type K if they think kulhad, and ask
Yeah, yeah.
people
No, no,
if
sir,
it is P.
sir, I already asked team to respond to people. So when you're saying kulhad, please explain why kulhad. And if you're saying, paper cup, just say why paper cup. So I do see Satya mentioning paper cup. So anyway, sir, let's move on to our
Sure,
some of our other questions.
sure.
I think this learning how to learn, this is something that we've already discussed. Teach people how to fish, don't give them fish. Let's move on to the next one, sir, which is um, you know uh, you talked about interdisciplinary collaboration, which the leader has to, magnetize and align everybody around. So you did mention that, the telescopic thing where you have to collaborate with a lot of people to make a telescope work. But yeah, I mean, give us some more examples, sir. I mean, uh, how you kind of how this success principle has got reinforced for you, that anything to make success out of anything requires an interdisciplinary collaboration led by the leader himself.
Wonderful. So, Jagdish, I'll try. And Amrinder asked a question while I was thinking that I haven't done justice to the question. Amar, the one thing about the risk and how do we look at blind spots was probably these two examples may help you. While we were implementing the largest cement plant in Asia, there was a Gantt chart, port chart, and everything, and critical path. I didn't really understand the terms as a young trainee and just with a few years of experience. But there was one incident which is, which stuck with me, and I keep narrating my this story to everyone. Two actually. One was, on that I used to work with the Danish team and the German team. There was a gearbox which was a 5,500 kilowatt gearbox, planetary gearbox, huge monster, and that wasn't a critical path. And my boss asked me, to work with this thing. So what's the big deal? Then they tried to explain me, the Germans explained me, but still I didn't register. But after that, the whole episode, that's where I realized this gearbox was supposed to be what could, I mean, even if somebody tells you that gearbox is a thing, and there are thousands of pieces of equipment, why this gearbox is so critical? This gearbox was made to order and engineered to order, and the delivery time would be 18 to 24 months. Just imagine if something happens to that gearbox, the whole project, more than some 400, 500 crores, get stuck up because of that. And they treated like a small baby. Okay. So they didn't, I was very surprised. Why are these guys asking me to go to Mumbai? Out of why, and from Mumbai it had to go to a plant site. So how complex it can be. Then I go there, hold the placard, and stop at the airport. Then we go in. Next day we go to this big. It was used to be called Mawasheva or JNP,
How
some
much
airport.
JNPD,
Yeah,
yes.
something like that. Then these guys asked me, okay, hey, how will you lift it? I said, there is a crane. Show me the crane certificate. I said, what? वो carry कर रहा है ना? No, no, don't look at the volume, look at the weight. I want to have the certificate. And so after picking up the gearbox, where will you keep? So we will keep it on the platform. Can the soil hold it? So he got me the soil testing done. And then from there, we did a recce of the whole route, ambassador and jeeps to the whole journey. It was not more than 650 kilometers, but it was a 14 years journey, measuring the length, whether that, it would go pass under a bridge, measuring the strength of the culvert. So these were the things, where the blind spots were. It was not the project per se where the high tech work was happening. Silently under that one critical thing, if it doesn't work like that, there were critical pieces. And I saw precision of German engineering, how they everything mattered. Germans were impeccable. I don't think they do big things. It's the small things they do with absolute precision and care.
Awesome.
That actually I learned that. And even Mother Teresa, we don't do great things. We do small things with great tenderness and care. And that's actually which helps, whether it's engineering or everything. The second part, Amarinder, to your question, I'm taking a few more seconds, Jagdish. When the smartest plant, where thousands of people operating a plant, now it is 250. Our challenge was we had buckets. We had chemical engineers, we had electrical engineers, we had instrumentation, we had, mechanical. But nobody understood what we were talking. The chemical engineer would not know what is a PID controller, and they were not able to come, have a decent conversation. One was talking in Hindi, the other was talking in Urdu and French. So we made a new breed of things, and they sent it to some school, and we were the first process engineers, where a bunch of people from each discipline were thrown in, and then we were process engineers officially for the first time, and Larsen and Toubro.
Okay.
So it was mechanical instrumentation, all these things put together. Probably those were the blind spot. If we wouldn't have done that, then we wouldn't have had a conversation, and we wouldn't have made an automated plant or autonomous smart plant in those days without doing that.
No, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I think good one, sir. The fact that handling something which is on the critical path, you got to be very rigorous. You're looking at soil, you're looking at the crane, and all of these things have to come together to deliver that particular delivery and get it to your this thing, right? And then doing a recce, I think. So there are two things here. One
Jagdish,
is
it's very. Me and my team, we believe that it's not the big thing. In a biryani, you can't forget the chicken and the rice. You will never forget. The devil is always in the details.
the
It's the
devil is
smaller
always.
things.
Yeah, absolutely. Bang
Yeah.
on, sir. Yeah. So sir, let's move the needle a bit. I understand you worked in some 40 plus countries, right? And and I'm sure you have a good appreciation of multiple different cultures. So just share a couple of examples of contrasting cultures and what you learned from them that you could then leverage afterwards.
Jagdish, the strangest part was I never thought that technology, or when you were doing projects, project management, or in IT and everything, SAP, there is something called a SDL, software development lifecycle, right? We are a CIO's club, we know that. I thought I was damn good at SDLC and estimation. My SDLC and estimation, and which phase, the discovery phase, as is, to be, and the build phase, testing phase, everything. There are percentages, right? Generally, we go with me. But it was not the technology. Strangely, it was the cultures, and it was strange when I went to UK. My first few projects were absolutely in red. Cost overrun, schedule overrun, PNL is gone for. And if that could continue, probably we would have lost, and then we would have not got orders. Then what I realized in you, I'll give you some examples of how culture comes into estimation. and a technology kind of a thing. In UK, the Angrezi is so much. The grammars, full stop and commas, the English reviews are a pain, absolutely. And getting a sign off is a nightmare. Getting a sign off is a nightmare. So I call the Brit factor. I used to have something called a Brit factor with my team. We used to put about 10 to 15% higher than the rest of the world, our norm for any particular type of a project. And that was for what? For documentation, for Angrezi, writing Angrezi, and for getting sign off. And the part was, we actually learned the smart way. We got some young kids in UK who would speak, British English locally, and they would be the program manager running around and getting sign off. Well, we were strict Germans. They were not able to get sign off because they would be straight. We were hardly about 30, 25, 30 people all around the world doing fuzzy logic and expert system in those days. But more than us, I think the program management office and the project office, which had that 2, 3 bachas who used to go around and everything and go around, chit chat, socialize with them, those were the one. So an additional cost of facilitating the documentation after we write all the technical thing like what ChatGPT will clean up the mess for you. Those were the Brits who would clean up and document it in a fashion which was actually our cost reduced. After that, we put 2 more people and some chasers who would get the sign offs. Specifically, only we didn't have chasers in other part of the world, but this part of the world we had to have chasers. That's it. The Germans, absolutely, it's a pleasure to work with them. But then they would tell you that how much of torque have you applied when tightening that, and he wants the proof. Which hammer have you used? Which is a rubber hammer or a wooden hammer or anything? I didn't care. There were so many we studied, but I didn't care like whether it's a wooden hammer, rubber hammer, because in India we will use even a screwdriver like a hammer or a cutting plier like a hammer. So they changed my perspective and they were meticulous. So the Germans, it's fun, but they are rigid, and that's the only way that they know. But once you understand that, that's a different time. Japan was in another extreme. I haven't seen a discovery phase and a design phase, which is 50% of the project, and you will not. And those projects we learned the hard way that you guys are not going to sign off, and consensus is mandatory. I work with the best Sony, Nissan, and NTG, NTK, NGK, the largest spark plug producer in the world. Everywhere, getting a consensus and a design frozen is a nightmare. So we crafted a different thing. We used to do time and material basis for the design and discovery phase. After that, once the design is signed, it flows like it's absolutely smooth. Fun to work with the Japanese. Then testing and acceptance, you factor, 50% more to 100% more depending on the situation. You have got to factor. Then love testing it, negative. Nobody tests like them. Negative testing, positive testing, and documentation. But once the product passes them, you will have the least amount of errors from the Japanese. But you have got to work. So it was the cultural thing and the way of working, everything you got to know, which gets into the technical estimation of a project, knowing the nuances of them. Even project management, estimation management, risk management, they're different in different phases.
Absolutely. No, I think I really love this whole distinction between crossing the I's and crossing the T's and dotting the I's, very meticulous with the language and manners and everything. And then I called it as precision and proof of Germans. And then, the whole consensus and, the sign of consensus of the Japanese, which basically then, you don't really have to worry beyond that. I mean, you're front
One
loading.
thing I need to mention is Japanese invest upfront, which many countries, many cultures don't do.
Absolutely.
Their investment, upfront investment, they're heavy on the front side. Their tail end of the projects are light.
Yeah. So they basically take out any room for disagreement later on by building the consensus part up front. Yeah.
And
Achha,
it's a joint sign off. They actually, their design is they all sign up. They are stakeholders in that.
Yeah.
There's no blame game in Japan after the sign off.
So, sir, Dr. Amit Sethi has one question. How can AI help a cement manufacturing plant? He's probably trying to test your in whether how current you're still with the cement manufacturing.
You know,
Just
Amit, Amit, Mukesh, all these guys have been brilliant guys. I did what we did because we had some marvelous team. I had some phenomenal bosses, some peers, and the team. We did. Amit, if it was a real question, let me answer on a serious note. Cement industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world. It could be single largestly about 14% of the world's greenhouse gases and CO2 emissions could be from the cement industry alone. So it's a serious thing. Probably we have to make cement industries green, or we should stop cement producing cement. It's a longest thing we can take it, but I think green cement is green production is the need of the hour, because we all are assuming the planet Earth is in the brink of extinction, and we are not acting on it today. We should have started our work at least decades back, and we are not doing that. That's my worry. The problem with the cement and the steel industry, they use limestone. Limestone has got a component called calcium carbonate. The very nature of the process is when you heat it, CaCO3 breaks up into CaO and CO2. The process emission itself, CO2, for 1 kg, if you're making 1 ton of cement, you'll make 0.6 tons of CO2. So you can't do away with that. You can reduce the fuels and everything, but what happens to the process? Will we use a chemical decomposition or a biodecomposition of CO3? We all have to come up with matters. But that's the risk which we have with the cement and the steel industry. We are thinking that these resources are there forever. And we have got into the Western narrative of, use more, produce more and everything. I think this more business has to come down. We are using, for example, if you go into the marketplace, you will see, OPC 53, or ordinary Portland cement. If you have built cement, OPC 43, OPC 33, and PSC. And why do we have to use a cannon to kill a fly? That's what I'm saying. OPC 53 is a high strength cement. Why are we using it for plastering? Not required. Everywhere the whole world uses M25 grade concrete, where you can do with only M15 or something like that. We are over factoring, and the cushioning is so much. Everyone is putting like we used to do in our projects, Amit, we estimate contingency. The contingency has actually become a killer, and it's become a fashion to replace from the Western world, replace thing rather than repair it. We should be trying to, if the plant has given 30 years of life, let's see how we can extend the life of that asset to 50 years. That's engineering and technology we should be doing. How can we extend the life? How can we increase the asset life cycle? That is, it's not only produce more, but increase the life cycle, so you don't need to put up another plant.
absolutely.
And the question what you asked, we are drilling, like Trump says, dig baby dig. We are not saying that we are doing the same thing. We are just excavating tons and tons and million tons of cement, and we are using the good grade limestone, and then we are throwing heaps and mountains of marginal grade and everything. How will we use that? Why are we not using the marginal grade? That's where we have our chemistry and everything is there. We should be serious. I'll narrate story. I heard this story that there are some places, especially in Germany, if you go order your food. This incident happened with Ratan Tata and his team, and they went to Dalmer Villains. So they ordered the food, and they left some food in the restaurant. And after paying the bill, the person came and said that you can't waste the food. You need to. So we paid it. You may have paid it. You have paid it for eating, not for wasting. So there was a penalty. I think none of us have the right as a citizen or person on this planet to waste, as a cement industry or a steel industry or anything. And it's not just about the core technology. I'm seeing that not only the core of cement or steel, the applications also. We are using M53 where M43 could be used. We are using M25 where M15 could be used. All of our houses, if you look around in your house, office, everything, we have a superstructure. Why do we need a 9-inch wall? Why can't it be 6 inches? Why? I've gone to Middle East, they put a 3-inch wall and it lasts if it's superstructure. So we got to look at the complete value engineering of all these things, and we have to reduce. I think if whatever is the capacity we have, we can last. India is a resilient country. If we tighten, we can survive. With the same capacity, without growing, we can do that. And I'll reserve some of my things for the end, Jagdish, because you wanted to prompt something on
No,
this
no, absolutely,
sustainable.
absolutely. No, I think, sir, my next question was actually about uh, circular economy and sustainability, and what you just mentioned, all of these things. That this shows your passion. I think you have been thinking and digging into sustainability right from 80s itself. Right? So, sir, I think this is the right time now to answer that question, right? I mean, since we are on the question of sustainability, Kullad versus paper cup. So Satya says paper cup is scale of manufacturing, also the recycling process. Amarinder and Shweta say Kullad. So there are two people saying paper and two people saying Kullad. So quickly, sir, in a rapid fire fashion, we are like just 3 minutes away from 6 o'clock. I still have a
Fantastic.
little bit to cover. So we'll
I,
probably go maybe 5-10 minutes overboard. But guys, please bear with us. Yes, sir. Rapid fire. Why paper or why Kullad?
this particular audience has been very educated. They look at, I've got a 50% kind of answers, but most of the time, whenever I ask this question in any of the, sessions and everything, corporate session, everything, 90% of the people have said earthen kulhad, earthen pot, kulhad. And they think that earth is mud and this one. And surprisingly, what I tell them is just because it's kulhad, can you know how did we come to know that Mohenjo-daro Harappa existed or Ottoman Empire existed? Hey, we saw that they were cooking in those so many centuries back. Exactly. So those pots, earthen pots, never disintegrate. Number one. Number two, an earthen pot to bake it and everything under fire, you need wood and everything. So we have got to look at, I call it, B2C, not birth to B2D, not birth to death, but before the birth, what happens to that materials and resources? After the death, what happens to that? That's what we have got to look at. So kulhad is not the right answer. The right answer is paper, because if you look at the complete, if you look at any framework of sustainability and look at the complete entire life cycle value, you will see that though it is trees cutting and everything, this is much more better degradable, and earthen pottery will never degrade for years, for centuries. And that's the answer. And if you put in the life cycle framework and calculate what it has done, the answer will be paper. So whoever gun paper, some chocolates to you from Jagdish.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, sir. Yes, the right answer is paper cup and not cooler. Cooler doesn't disintegrate easily, requires a lot of fuel to create, and paper cup is like easily biodegradable, and can be, as Satya rightly said, it can be made at scale, and therefore per paper cup footprint will be much lesser. Okay, so sir, I think let me ask you the last question then. I think there were various others which I think we covered on the way. I think it's been a very spontaneous session that way, that we didn't really follow the structure, but we covered everything. So I think so. The last question would be that you said that prosperity is no longer defined by growth but by resilience. So share some examples, sir, where these constraints become catalysts, and I mean, including your startup itself. So over to you, sir.
A couple of things. What I see that the Western narrative and the Northern narrative doesn't hold good. The KPIs of the corporate and the KPIs of the nations, the way do is GDP per capita and what is the revenue, what is the sales, how much of it. I think in this crisis of the planet Earth and everything, we have got to do more with less, or perhaps do more with nothing. And some of my colleagues, Amit and all here, we used to call consulting is always not about spending money. And we know that framework of 2 by 2, which is metrics, 4 quadrant. We have a low cost, we have got a high cost, marginal cost and impact. But there is a place, a actually a wonderful, what called sweet spot, which is no cost and impact. I think we can do things with no cost and impact. If we look at the countries which had all the resources in the world during COVID, all the resources, the wealth, riches, and everything, how did they handle? And look at India and some of the countries when they did have not have anything also, with nothing, they whatever they had, we made it. We made, the masks, we need the, protection, we need vaccines. What didn't we do? I think that's where is the place where we have to go. We have to look at planet Earth absolutely seriously. We have to take sustainability. Otherwise, we'll consume all the resources and we'll not have any speck of resources. And when there is something, why are we wasting? Why are we placed? India wastes 30% of the food. India is not a very rich country. We waste 30% of the food. That means today, if nothing gets imported, we can last for 30% more. Cement, steel, everywhere we are wasting things. And we are throwing things. How many clothes do we throw out without that? How many washing machines and fridges and laptops we are throwing out? Why don't we extend it? Why don't we have forgotten repair?
Yeah, I think we are
So the
getting into
new growth
this.
indicators, are couple couple growth and prosperity, decouple growth and prosperity to the growth and prosperity have to be decoupled. We have to degrow our economies. We have got to make sure that how we make the best utilization, and a mutual dependency. What I saw, whether it was astronomy when I was found helium and hydrogen and Halley's comet tail and phenomena, we did it all together. I depended on somebody, they depended on me. In the cement plants, the mechanical and everything, there's a mutual dependency. This probably I'm getting political. You know they cannot be. You I buy you get your clothes pressed. You spend 500 rupees every month. You can't say because I am giving to Dhobi 500 rupees, Dhobi has to buy 500 rupees for me. The Trumpism doesn't work. It's all about mutual dependency and sharing of resources. Now we manage that. So that the first place we have to know extend, reduce, and reuse and all these things. I don't have to preach there. You are a very
They have
learned forum here.
yeah, they have this mantra called
RRR.
reuse. Yeah, reuse, recycle,
Reduce, reuse, recycle,
reuse, and recycle.
repurpose.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think, sir, without really asking the question, we really kind of got, your passion, which is around like, we have to do more with less, we have to do more with nothing.
Very quickly, I'll get that. I want to share one I learned. I got the best paper award, presented award during my as a student paper way back in 1987. It was the International Cement Conference, and it was the best presented paper, and which I'm not proud of because it was presented, not the best paper. Dr. S.K. Chopra, one of the leading stalwarts in the industry, he is a chemist and everything, cement technology is globally renowned. He called me and said that you have done absolute injustice to this one. I sat in IIT house calls, collected all the papers with bitumen and everything, wrote a thing, and he said that you are using tires. And he said, do you know the value of tires in India? You are trying to burn them. In India, the tires are retreaded and again put on the same car or a vehicle or a truck. After they are used, they are put in a bullock cart or a camel cart or something. After that, they are cut into halves. They use this bucket to, irrigate water from the irrigation canals and lanes. Then they become slippers, soles of the slippers. So the complete here he taught me that can't look just as a technology and using as so many kilocalories you burn the tires. Look at the economic life cycle, socio-economic, socio-economic life cycle of that particular resource. And context to context, country to country, it varied. We have got to look at it from our lens.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
my
Absolutely.
that's my story. I did not know my story. I am doing sustainability or circularity in 87. But back then, that was not a term also at that point of time. But I think that's what stayed with me, stuck with me.
No, absolutely. So I think this is fantastic. This tire life cycle. Uh, Maybe West has a problem with disposal of tires, and they've got these huge dump yards, where you just dump those tires because they also drive a lot. But I mean, you come to India and there's a very different, as you call it, as like socio-economic, techno socio-economic life cycle, where a tire's life cycle extends much beyond its life on a wheel, right? So, sir, I think we are towards the logical end of the chat. We are at 6:05. Let's try to finish it by 6:15. So let's go on to rapid fire round. So guys, anybody who wants to know a little bit on either the personal side or like any hobbies, reading habits, etc. for from Raj, please throw your rapid fire questions here, and we'll try to accommodate as many of them. This should not take more than 5 minutes. Okay, so sir, yeah, there was this interesting case study that all the innovations that you did in India, getting all these cement technology and non-cement technologies. Very very interesting take that it saved the cement industry in Europe. So just tell us quickly about it.
Oh, wonderful. So while we were doing some work on fuzzy logic, it was a chance accidental the way we looked at innovation. So I was working in UK and Europe at that point of time, and cement plants in Japan and Europe and US were getting shut down because they were generating a lot of NOx, nitrogen oxide, nitrogen dioxide, all the NOs, and the SOx, the sulfur oxides. NO and NOx and SOx, when they go and hit the ozone layer, ozone plus NO, they become HNO3, nitric acid. S becomes H2SO4, and they become sulfuric acid. So they make a hole. So there would be a lot of radiation. That's the reason the plants were clogged. The whole world was working on how to reduce the NOx and SOx emission on the combustion fuels, burners, and everything. I, at that point of time, was associated working collaboratively with a company called Linkman, which won the Queen's Award for saving, reducing the NOx SOx levels in industries. So what we took is we took a different, while we were working in combustion technologies of burners, fuels, and everything, how to give the air fuel ratios and how to mix them and all that. We were also parallelly working with look at the operational side of that, not the product of company. How do we optimize the fuel and everything operationally, the operations and the burning of this one? And we use fuzzy logic to emulate the best operator in the world. So we use autonomous burning and everything, and that actually reduced hell a lot of NOx and SOx, and we were able to restart plants in Simondou in Belgium and Lafarge Le Havre plants in France, Blue Circle plants in UK, and plants in America. We were able to restore them. But here is the interesting part. It was not only which approach you take. There are 100 ways of reaching the goal. We took a different path. We took a different path in the process. The other part where we were good at is we had to deal with. I didn't know that I was able to manage. We had to talk to the labor unions and everything. They thought that computers have come, so they will replace it. I said, anyway, your plant is shut. You don't have jobs and everything. So it started there, and we started talking to these guys, and then assured them that your jobs will not be lost, even though the thing is running on autopilot in a plane. The pilot is sitting there, no matter, it's his job to sit there and keep on watching whether it's doing it right or not. So you will be monitoring the autopilot. So that was the thing. I don't know whether I answered your question, but that's all.
No. You answered the question, sir. So, sir, one inspiration from Tata Nano.
Oh, wow. So I was trying to raise some funds, and at that time, one of the hackathons and melas of investors, I had a chance to get in touch with Ratan Tata and Cyrus Mistry. So Mistry Ventures want to give some fund. We were cracking anything. The unit numbers were not working out. He said that 2,000 you have reduced to 1,000. In India, it wasn't not going to work. Then, interestingly, Ratan Tata highlighted in his book called Nano, the Little Wonder, highlighted in yellow and sent that book. And that's the only car in the world, I believe, has got 3 nuts and bolts on the wheel. So he said that if vision is taking your, more than 500, 600 rupees per person, why are you trying to make it cheaper? Try to make it faster. Look at it a different way. And instead of keeping a nurse, optician and everything, that's the time our innovation, we completely went to the drawing board, through our drawing, and then we were doing 7 more tests on the eye in less than 2 seconds.
Wow.
There is a disease called amblyopia, what we call lazy eye. People don't know till the time it's your one eye is gone. And the cost of treatment and everything is less than 50 rupees. I make the eye a pirate eye, the eye which is working, it's like your left hand. It's the nervous system, and then it goes. But before 13 years, if you identify and cure it, it's cured. And we are able to do what the tests in the doctors even they do is 20/20 reading and long distance, 20 feet and 20 inches. We were doing a gamma of tests, and we were doing that at a fraction of a second. We increased the cost of technology, and we were doing. Now our vision was the fastest one. We were able to do 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 students in a day, but other things fell down. The constraint really changed, and that dropped us. Then the cost came down to 300 rupees for I. So thanks to Mr. Tata, and say that, and we changed that, and we went back, and he promised that
That
he
was
will
like,
give the money.
think differently, think out of the box, do more with less. I can see a lot of things coming from there, sir. Yeah. Okay. So, sir, one book that changed how you think.
One,
Book. What's your favorite book, which
okay.
changed your thinking?
Actually, many books. It's very difficult to say many books, but
Top of the mind. Top of
yeah, top of the mind. Lee Iacocca was one thing which I was highly inspired. Made in Japan, but more than that, stay hungry, stay foolish.
the list.
It's from IMA. Stay hungry, stay foolish. That's I'm not getting the exact. That's a
Yeah, no,
booklet,
that's the
and
one.
I
That's the
think
one.
it's a phenomenal book. We could learn from so many failures and how pivots. You see that how all these companies pivoted and then they made it. So I didn't. That book actually taught me that we should worry about pivoting. You should keep on trying. If you stick with the same thing which is not working, you will make the same mistake again and again and again. And coming from a GE house, when everyone asked Mr. Edison, "Hey Edison, why are you being so proud about that your field?" So Mr. Thomas Edison says that, "Gentlemen, listen to me. I know 37 ways of how not to make a light bulb. So
Yeah,
all the failures we have to
that's the
count,
number of
and we know
experiments he
how
has
not to
done.
make the mistakes 37 ways."
Yeah. Yeah. So the next one is, sir, the strangest place you got a great idea. I mean, that you know of, which led to a great idea. I think it was a janitor's
Wow.
story, right?
There, there, there are GE was a place which taught me great things, and two things actually GE carried me, and the Jackwells and the legacy of GE. It's a great honor to be working in that company. My bosses Haq, Rohit Bhana, and Milind Soman, they've taught me. They said that copy shamelessly. That's something which sticks with me. Don't reinvent. If we wouldn't copy, India's telecom would not have been here. We repurpose, reuse the technology, started from where others left and then built upon it. Otherwise, we would be left behind. We would be staying in Dama, Pama, and those kind of old technology. So that was one thing. Try to see the adjacent, the substitutes, other industries, other markets, say what people are doing, and then get them on. Copy doesn't mean copywriting, plagiarism, or something like that. It's about getting inspired from them and make your thing. That was one thing. And the other thing which G taught me was innovation doesn't have to necessarily be inside. It can be at a supplier's end. It can be a customer who helps you innovate and everything like that. So my great story is, there are two actually. You know, Schiphol Airport, one of the most busiest airport in Amsterdam. What was the biggest P&L and their margins, KPIs getting it up? The cost of operation. Which was the highest cost of operations there? The toilet. Which was the toilet? It was the men's toilet. So there were plumbers, there were sanitary engineers, all these people designing how to do that. But it was not the engineers and everything. The janitor there came up with a brilliant idea, and they etched a small real fly, put it in the men's urinal toilet there, and that became actually the word called gamify was not there when they did that. It actually gamified pissing, and with that you would not leave signatures and droplets and splutters all over the thing. And the costs of operations and cleaning the toilets of Schiphol Airport reduced drastically with that innovation. The second one, if you can think of which is the time the toilets can be the busiest, the highest density of using the toilets. They say the FIFA match. Today it could be IPL
Yeah,
or
a
cricket
match in a
FIFA
stadium,
match.
yeah, or
Yeah,
even an IPL match.
absolutely. Now IPL, but my story goes back to the FIFA, and in a minute, how many people go and the liters of flushing, what we do, everything. So it was impossible to manage the toilets at the stadium there, and they come up with a fabulous idea. They didn't copy. Why I'm getting the story here is copy shamelessly and getting inspired are connected. They looked at the fly, and what they did is they put a small goal post and a ball, a miniaturized goal post and a ball in the toilet in the FIFA stadium thing. And trust me, everyone was scoring a goal and everyone was making goal as they were doing the business in the urinals. And surprisingly, people were sitting idle; they were not cleaning the toilets there.
Awesome,
And this is a
awesome.
real life story. So innovation can happen anywhere, and I truly believe it does happen everywhere.
So, what's the leadership quality you admire the most?
I think the one thing is actual real purpose in people. Anything can be replicated. Organization, India, country, it's not the infrastructure, it's the people. And I see that we don't succeed because of technology or science, we succeed because of people and how we connect the people. That's something which will make a difference.
Awesome, sir. Awesome. So, one hobby outside of work that many people may not know.
Oh, my hobby was Hobby Hub. We were one of the first people in the country who had an organization called Hobby Hub. That was my first stint with entrepreneurship. I
Wow.
had aquariums, pets, and hamsters, and everything. So Menaka Gandhi comes and they want me to arrest because I am, being unfriendly and torturing birds. So I said, okay, give away. Actually, today that organization, after having multiple sales, it's with Akash Ambani. So that was in way
Oh,
back in 2010. We created vertical gardens. I'm a fan of pets. I
wow.
love dogs.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, sir. Last rapid fire. Three things that a leader has to stop doing to make space for their own growth. Three things a leader has to stop doing to make space for their own growth.
It's a very contextual thing, Jagdish, and I wish I had a
Maybe
ready
from your
answer, but
personal example, sir, what are the things you stop doing as you grew?
just trying to keep things myself and do it. I think we have to delegate more and more.
Okay.
At my early age, I thought that if I do it, I'll have more control over that. But doing it yourself, I can do it faster. But if I want to do it longer and replicate it, I won't be able to do that. So I have got to create a scenario where people do it. We have got to make ourselves redundant, not do. So not do what we are doing and where that. What we have, if we can make ourselves redundant, that's the best thing a leader can do to the organization or the country or something like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes,
So
sir.
the
I think
answer is both do and not do.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree, sir. No, that's a very important one, and I think it keeps coming because I ask everybody this question, and I think one thing which is like common is if you want to grow, you have to create space for yourself to grow, and how you create this space is basically by letting go of things that you hand over to others, so that you get some time for yourself, right?
And Jagdish, as you are speaking, what I see is for the leader, they should think that I know, because what I know today is not relevant tomorrow.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
less we know is that the moment we have that executive presence and then we shut up others, we know the solution, then you will not get a solution from the room and the floor.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, sir. Maybe, sir, your last rapid fire back to me.
Ah, so you asked the question actually I wanted to ask. What you have been talking to so many leaders. Today is the episode 141. So I'm just one of them, one out of 141. So your experience, I wanted to know what is a leader, what is that one thing we should not do, and what is that one thing we should do as leaders? what you have learned from talking to so many people and so many, insights you have got.
Yeah. So, sir, I mean, well, I think the people I have interviewed, most of them are successful people. So I did not get so much of leadership failure. But yeah, I think what people have said from their examples, others examples, I think the biggest thing that the biggest leadership failure is what brought me here will take me there. It basically is said in a different way, that what brought you here won't take you there, right? Which is your past successes are not a sure shot recipe for your future this thing. But if you look at it from a leadership terms, is thinking that what brought me here will take me there. So at every, so as you keep growing, you have to take it with a bit of a skepticism as to whatever I've been doing so far will work. So you are always growing. So I think the corollary of that is what I've seen people doing, which is keep learning, right? And not just resting on your laurels of what you've done and where you've been, right? Yeah. So, sir, we are towards the end of it. Let me bring in some more people here. Some more people have been, kind of making the presence felt. So we have Dr. Chandri Naidu. He says, "Nice hearing your thoughts and wide experience across countries. How did you manage the tough working conditions at different sites to manage the work done as per the required results?" I think you have answered this question, sir. I mean, this make it fun. Yeah, I think he is kind of validating what you mentioned, that in India we have one of the most modern cement plants and pollution levels are much lower, etc. Right? And then we have another of your old colleagues, Anthony, uh, who says, "Raj, happy to see you participating in this discussion here and hear your valuable inputs. Wish you all the very best. Your old L&T friend, Varghese Anthony." Okay, so you guys used to call him Varghese.
Worky. He was
Varghese.
a pet Worky.
Okay, okay, okay. Awesome, awesome. Okay, sir. So before we,
So, Jagdish,
yeah,
what you reflected in the last point, I like the horses for courses. In our organization, we think that if somebody is successful in doing something, we have got somebody who's got I worked in the startup world and the incubation world and the NPI world. Somebody is great in piloting and prototyping. Somebody is good at operationalizing it. Somebody is good at scaling. So it's not necessarily somebody who's got from A to B is the same person is going to get the same success from B to C or C to D. So we have got to use the right courses. Somebody is good at sprint, let them be Usain Bolt. But you need Usain Bolts and you need Kina who are marathoners also. Operations is all about that rigor and the eye to detail, everything. Project managers are bungee jumpers and everything, catch me if you can guys style. So we need to
absolutely.
use the right courses, which the same person who has done in project implementation should not be put in upgrade or should not be put in operations, because not that they can't learn, but putting the right horses or the right courses would be the right approach from organization or a strategic point of view.
It's also, there's another phrase for it, which says that, leverage people's strengths. Don't try to improve their weaknesses, right?
Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, very well said. Very well said.
Okay, so sir, let me quickly summarize this in the next 1 or 2 minutes. Uh, we have an interesting process where I keep putting the takeaways and the team basically puts it together. Everything happening online. So here is the session summary. Starting with your career journey, the professors pushed you to learn how to learn. You pivoted from civil services to cement research on a professor's advice, and that has worked very well for you. Um, um, I mean, then as you moved on to L&T, you got hands-on experience and got the highs of setting up the best technology plant, and learned the ropes by doing it yourself, and then you then applied it with the NPI consulting experience, and then identifying new technologies across the world in cement, out of cement, adjacent areas, and then bring them to cement. And later on we discussed that you took these kind of innovations back to Europe and restarted some of their plants. Moving on to consulting, which is SAP. One of the takeaways was that process is the king, right? And how you define the process, the technology just follows that. So don't put the cart before the horse. Okay, define your process first, and that's what you do in SAP. And so it was an adjacency coming from automation, because because those systems used to integrate with SAP, and so you moved on to SAP. I think then moving on to your stint with data, I loved the whole. I think it's a cliché now, but the way you said it is like, garbage in, garbage out. If you really think that data is the new oil, it better be refined so, properly, combustible, low polluting. So data quality is very important. You did a lot of first, which is like, innovated on data governance and MDM, setting up data standards, setting up data labs, and all of that. Very seminal work there. And then, your entrepreneurship experience, uh, setting up Healpha, reducing the cost of testing by 7 times, by a factor of 7, right? Um, and uh, and I think you answered that question on innovation, that integration of people, process, and technologies, and look beyond product into delivery, business model, etc., etc. Then we were discussing, like, the multidisciplinary, I would say, recipe for success, which is where you mentioned this, this case about, like, this 35-ton gearbox, and looking at multiple dimensions, crane capacity, the soil testing, doing a complete recce of the route, and assessing different things, just to make sure that one gearbox reaches the destination, and we don't lose like that 18 to 24 months of critical part time, right? Yeah, and the takeaway there was the devil is in the details, right? Then we were talking about this multicultural, like, exposure and those inputs. Uh, Very interesting ones. You have a Brit factor, additional 10% for crossing the T's and dotting the I's and being meticulous with your language and your presentation and everything, and adding some PMOs for that. Germany being all about precision and proof of whether you have done the right thing. And Japan is like more about, like, front load your investments into design, consensus building, and all. And once you have done that very well, I mean, spending 50% of the time on design, on make sure that you don't land up in any kind of disagreements, or any kind of, hey, I don't accept this kind of things later on. And this is a very, very big one to learn for all of us. And I would put my own, sort of masala to it. I would say that, listen, all these cultures will have, for all the three things that we mentioned here, you could also look at it from an Indian eye and criticize those, right? Why do they do it like this? Why do they have to be so precise? Why do you have to spend so much time in design? But I think, uh, your success as a leader or professional is when you look at the brighter part of it, as to why and where they are coming from, and what is in it for us to learn and improvise from there. Then the Dr. Amit Sethi question, and I think that kind of got merged with our sustainability question. Very, I would say, passionate and insightful messages there. Like, it's like, contingency is a killer, right? So you are using a high strength cement for plastering the walls. I mean, how does it make sense, right? uh, Repair, don't replace. Then I think the question on AI as to, like, how do you reduce the process emission itself? I love that statement you made. Bring value engineering in day-to-day life. Doing more with less, right? Or doing more with nothing, and that's the only way to, you can say, save the planet. I think some other takeaways were, Western narratives do not work in India. We can do things with no cost and impact. An example was how India handled COVID more effectively with lower resources. And I didn't know that we waste 30% of the food. Okay? And we are getting into this culture of, replace, don't repair. Mm. And I think interesting insight from you that the new growth mantra has to be to decouple growth and prosperity, right? Um, yeah, and again, some things to do there, like copy shamelessly, look at adjacencies, look at substitutions. Innovation can be at any end; it can be at suppliers end or the customers end. But yeah, for learning, you can actually go anywhere. And I think this was the question on innovation, that innovation can be anywhere. You just need to learn from it. And I think some good examples on Schiphol Airport, putting a fly out there to aim at, and that's how you reduce your cost of operations. And a similar example in like a FIFA stadium, where you score a goal while while taking care of the necessary, you score a goal and then you reduce the maintenance cost. Um, yeah, inspiration from Nano, 3 bolts instead of four. Stay hungry, stay foolish, guys. Do read it. I'll put it on my bucket list as well. I've heard about it a lot, but I've not read it. I definitely do that. Uh, yeah, I think that's about it. And yeah, the last one was make yourself redundant, delegate more, and never ever get into that mindset that I know everything, because then you lose out on all the ideas and on all the ideas and stuff that can come from the flow to you. So that's so let us move to the closure. We are like 30 minutes behind, but I think it was a great session, sir. Lagani, 90 minutes okay, and very, very, very interesting insights, and I would say some very passionate side of it we got to see, about innovation, about sustainability, and I think very, very importantly about thinking differently. I mean, there's so many things where you kind of just opened a different eye for people to see things differently. So before we close, sir, thank you very much, for spending your time and for going over time, and thank you our audience for attending and engaging. And I know a lot of people watched this session leisurely over the weekend, or even after that, a recording of it. So, all of you who are watching the recorded version, thank you as well. And enjoy family time. Happy Diwali to everyone. Wish you all the brightness and dhamakas in your life. Good dhamakas in your life. And once again, Raj, before we close, thank you so much for joining me on the Clarity
Actually,
journey.
Jagdish, I have to thank all my bosses and managers and my colleagues, senior colleagues, and all. Actually, today, if I am what I am, thanks to them. We wouldn't have done any bit of it without the team.
Absolutely, absolutely, sir. I mean, I echo that feeling. I come from a very small town, and I actually keep telling a lot of people that, like, you just do what you have to do, and you'll find your sponsors, you'll find your godfathers, even if you come with none. And yeah, thanks to everyone, who taught us, who sponsored us, who pushed us, challenged us. We are all here because of that. So, on that note, on this occasion of Diwali, with the touch of gratefulness to everyone, bye bye, everyone. Have a great
Happy
Diwali.
Diwali to everyone. Thank
Happy
you,
Diwali.
audience. You have been wonderful.
Thank you so much, sir.